happened to count 2 in this case. I think I had to bother the lawyers, and I wrote back, should not concern yourselves with that. And are we allowed to see patterns from the testimonies for the 2 counts? I had no idea what that meant, so I just put a question mark, and I didn't receive any other questions thereafter. So it appears that we've got a verdict or verdicts. So we'll bring the jury in. Sure. It's my understanding that the jurors have in fact reached verdict. Is that correct? And who's got the verdicts? Oh, and your juror number? Thank you. Thank you. Court will read the verdicts. State of Wisconsin versus Ramsey. We, the jury, find the defendant, George Ramsey, not guilty of sexual exploitation of a therapist as charged in count 1 of the information, signed and dated by the foreperson. As to count 3, we, the jury, find the defendant, Ramsey, guilty of sexual exploitation by a therapist as charged in count 3 of the information. The court's going to ask you whether or not these were in fact your verdicts. That's called polling. Juror number 2, were these in fact your verdicts? Juror number 5, were these in fact your verdicts? Juror number 9, were these in fact your verdicts? Juror number 10, were these in fact your verdicts? Juror number 12, were these in fact your verdicts? Juror number 13, were these in fact your verdicts? Juror number 18, were these in fact your verdicts? Juror 19, were these in fact your verdicts? Number 21, were these in fact your verdicts? Juror number 2, were these in fact your verdicts? Juror 22? Yes. Juror number 23, were these in fact your verdicts? And juror number 24, were these in fact your verdicts? 24? Based upon the unanimous verdict, the court's polled the jury. At this point, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court wants to thank you for your time and your patience. I'm going to come back there and talk to you for a moment. But you're going to be excused. Any motions?
Judge, I'd ask for a judgment of acquittal as it relates to count 1. I'd ask for judgment notwithstanding the verdict as it relates to count 3.
I'd ask the court to move for judgment on the verdict on count 3.
Court will do so and grant the defense request as to count 1, and will enter judgment accordingly. What are we going to do as to sentencing?
The state would also ask for remand, and then we would need an additional sentencing date. I wouldn't be able to go forward with sentencing today.
What about a pre-sentence?
The state would ask for one of those as well.
Judge, could I be heard as to the remand? Your Honor, I would ask the court to consider allowing Mr. Ramsey to stay out on cash bail. He's been out on cash bail since June of 2021 with no issues. He's made all court appearances. There's been no violations.
Your Honor, the defendant no longer has the presumption of innocence in this case. This is a serious case facing a significant amount of prison, even with just the guilty verdict on one of the counts. So the state would ask for the remand.
And if I remember correctly, there wasn't a stipulation, but there was a prior record. Is that correct? I know it's dated, but
yes,
if the defendant was going to testify, and he did.
Yes, there was 5 prior convictions that Your Honor was made aware of previously. 2 were for felon in possession of firearm. 1 was for resisting obstructing an officer, and then there were other more dated entries that it was a firearm, another firearm violation, and then an escape. And I think, especially considering the escape and the most recent conviction being in a resisting obstructing, I believe from 2004, that those are specifically situations where the defendant didn't follow court orders. So that would also be reasons.
And were there other contacts besides that?
Contacts that weren't charged. There were 4 sexual assault allegations from the late 90s, I believe it was 1999, and then 3 in the early 2000s that were referred to the Milwaukee Police Department and not issued. And then clearly there were the 2 counts here that Your Honor was aware of that are no longer pending.
All I heard, Judge, was the most recent misdemeanor offense from 2005. It's 2024.
I understand that. But based upon what's been just represented by the state, the court's going to remand the defendant in the custody of the sheriff. And we'll give you a sentencing date, court will order a pre-sentence report.
The state doesn't need a recommendation on the PSI. I don't know what Your Honor's feelings are.
It's fine.
Okay, thank you.
No recommendation.
For sentencing on June 12th, 8:15.
Sir, as a convicted felon, you cannot carry or possess any type of firearms or body armor, and your civil rights are suspended until they're restored.
June 12th at 8:15 is fine for the state.
Say that again?
June 12th at 8:15 is fine for the state.
I can make that work.
Okay.
Hang on for 1 second. Can we do that on June 13th? Does it have to be that long?
They usually want about 45 days for the PSI.
Okay. So can we do it on the 15th, June 15th?
June 15th is a Saturday.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about June 13th.
June 13th is fine with the state.
I can do that.
Okay. At 8:30.
8:30, okay. Next court date will be June 13th at 8:30 for sentencing.
Okay. Wait, wait, can you hang on for 1 second? I just gotta check something. I'm sorry, June 12th. We can do that. 13 something.
Okay, so the 12th at 8:30?